end users will connect and then work on either production or non-production based on the access they have. So let me go back one step. I'll tell you one more thing. So if you see here, this is only one client. I mean to say client in the sense here, okay, how do I say? One business. Okay, let's say one business using desktop clients here. So one business, and in that, let's say 10 users have access to use SAS. So all those 10 users are connecting to either desktop or mobile or web environment and using SAS grid. But if you see in my in our organization, we have the color codeds are different tenants or different businesses. Okay, so all businesses are different, like four, let's say four business users, sorry, four businesses or tenants are connecting to one single SAS grid environment. So how are we doing it here? I'll open this Excel notepad here again. Have I got that? Okay, I don't have it here, I think. Let me open the production one. Just give me 1 second, I'm opening the file. Yeah, I got it now. So I was saying different tenants or different businesses. Like if I have four businesses, which in which each business has a number of users using the same environment. So how am I giving access to them? So usually, if I have, if in a typical environment, after level one, SAS app config level one, we will create a, sorry, you see Luster SAS app configuration production, and in compute level one will be created. So after level one, you will have SAS app, which is our compute tier, compute server, wherein end users will log into that and then run their workspace. So what I'm doing here, this is a base SAS app. Similarly, I'm creating a one more SAS app which is called QP. So for a QP business, I'm creating another SAS app server so that this SAS app users are not um, uh, are not using this SAS app QP data. So they are differentiated. Again, I have one more called SAS app treasury. So I'm creating one more business or tenant for SAS app treasury. So for treasury and treasury business, one more SAS app server I'm creating. Similarly, there is similarly we are creating object spawners also different for them. Object spawner, this is a base one. Object spawner QP for QP business. Object spawner treasury for treasury business, right? So this way I'm differentiating. Where is my presentation? Yeah, I'm differentiating my tenants so that they are not connected to each of their data and they are working. So even they will not come to know unless until we say, okay, we have another tenant using the same platform as you, right? Because they are not linked, they are not connected by any means. They're all different. So this way, SAS um, grid is giving you enough flexibility to use for different businesses in your in your scope.
This is Shyam. If you don't mind, the last, can you summarize? I understand two business people can connect, but can you come to the this one? Means two businesses means what does it mean exactly?
Okay.
I mean, like example, two projects is using the same thing.
Yes. So we have three different people in this meeting. Let's say Priya, Sham, and Avinash. So Priya works for a finance team in the same company. You work for analytics, and Avinash works for reporting.
Mhm.
And you see, you should not see any data which is related to Priya, because Priya is working for finance part, right?
Okay.
And you're doing some analytics. That's it. You're doing you're getting a job and you're doing some analysis and then submitting it and giving it to your managers or someone who asks for those results. And Avinash working for reporting. Let's say he's giving all the reports to big leaders in the company, and even his data should not be seen by any of you, because these reports are going to the leaders in the company. So what we'll do here in this architecture, pink is let's say Priya finance team, analytics team, and reporting team. So they all will sit in the same SAS grid environment, but are differentiated, and their data is differentiated, uh, and their jobs that are submitted are differentiated to different object spawners, different SAS apps, different computing, different workspace servers, etc. Right? Yeah. In a nutshell, or in a layman's term, yes, it's different projects using the same platform.
So Ravi, here metadata server will also be shared, or that will also be different amongst different businesses?
No, metadata server is same because it has nothing to do with data about data. Metadata is nothing but data about data. So we are just saving user information, server information, um, table information, or data information. So that metadata server is only authenticating or giving access to end users to use SAS. And even they end users will not know what will sit in metadata server. It's only administrator who will know, okay, in metadata I have all these, etc. Metadata
Okay.
is shared. Only objects, only the compute servers are differentiated, and they are not shared to any of these tenants or any of these businesses or any of these projects.
Okay.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Good. Okay. Similarly, the startup script also will change. The starting of also, um, when I say about start stop, how do we start it, how do we stop it, then I'll tell you how are we going to differentiate from each tenant, right? Um, okay. So this is all about architecture. Do you guys understand, or do you have any questions before I move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
I have one question, Ravi. So this SAS grid architecture can only be on the cloud and not on the premise?
It can be on premise, but preferably to have it on cloud. Yeah.
Okay.
Ravi, one small question. So,
Yeah.
whatever way we differentiate between businesses, so we are going to provide the corresponding security, right? So that one
Yes,
can access the
definitely.
other ones and one cannot access the other database or corresponding
Yeah,
tables.
Definitely, yeah. So tomorrow, what I'll do, I will log into I log into Management Console and then show you how differentiated it is. Or else I'll take the screenshots and then I have to black out something. So let me see how I can do it, but that I'll share it to you when I explain about user access management and server management, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Um, any other things before I move? Okay. Mm, let me show you one more slide. Um, mm, no. Okay. So this typically this is again using how last stir to put up the installed install from. So this is on your left is a production environment. On your right is non-production environment. As we have in the earlier one, um, we have multiple tenants and then connecting to the same environments. Similarly, on the same server, we also created different levels. One is for production, one is for test case, one is dev case, and then in the non-production again 2 levels. One is for acceptance and for development. So typically end users develop, super users or business users where they'll do all the coding development. They'll be given access to non-production where they'll do the development, like major developments which are not which is not there at all. uh, that feature is not there at all in the environment, so they do all this in the non-production development and then test it in the acceptance, the same non-production environment. Move it to dev, again test it there in the production, uh, uh, test it in this environment and production. So why we have created like this, right? Why have we not put this test and dev also in the or else created another server? Because you see the server architecture is completely different from here to non-production. So non-production, we have one metadata, one grid controller, one worker node, and middle tier, and the file systems are hosted on one Luster management or mid metadata node and one Luster OSS node. um, so this is only as they are doing only development and testing. This environment, this architecture is enough for them. But to match this expectation on a production environment, this production should environment should have a duplicate copy or a same kind of environment, same kind of architecture on a test and dev. So that's the reason we have created another 2 levels to do thorough testing and development. Because here in this, if we did if acceptance and testing is completed and we move here, because of this high-end architecture, if it fails, then again in here, if it is minor failure, minor changes required in this development environment, we'll do those changes. I mean, like the business or super users will do the changes, test it here, move it to production. So here in this production cluster, we have one metadata server which is shared, and then one grid controller, 3 worker nodes, grid worker nodes, wherein the load balancing and workload sharing facilities enabled, and 2 middle tiers. And these 2 middle tiers are elastically load balanced ELB, which is a feature we can use it from the AWS environment. And also we have a SAS visual analytics server to do some high-end visual analysis, right? And this is again sitting in a 18 terabyte Lustre shared file system. So you see here, this we have Lustre management node, metadata node, and 4 OSS nodes. So out of these 4 OSS nodes, this 18 terabyte is distributed and then shared across all these environments. Wherein we have in the non-production, we have only 1 terabyte of 1 terabyte storage. And in order to connect to this either production or non-production environment, you're using a Windows machine where we installed Microsoft remote desktop services. This is actually like a Citrix environment, but coming from Microsoft, which can be easily managed by a SAS admin instead of depending on a Citrix team or a Windows team. Right, and this URL will be given to end users, and from that URL, when they log in, they'll get all the SAS clients available. They'll collect, and then they work on SAS Grid environment. Any questions here?
I have one question. For this production side of SAS Grid, why do we
Yeah,
need this Lab 2 and Lab 3? What are these two?
yeah, exactly.
Maybe I
So
missed
Lab
that
2 and Lab,
point.
yeah. So as for doing any development, let's say you are a developer earlier, you'll be given access to one server wherein production data is not sitting, right? And that server is typically this one, non-production, right? If you see, you develop something, you tested it, and you're successful with the results. But this is a very low environment, right? We only have one controller, one worker node, and it's across 1 terabyte, and um, uh, uh, it's not matching the production environment. So when you want your code to be moved to production, again we need to do some testing. So
Okay,
we cannot do
okay.
it on the
It's like
production environment,
pre-prod
right?
kind of environment.
Yes,
Like we call it
pre-prod, yeah.
UAT
So
in my project.
yes, yeah. So we again have a development case, development test. So the namings can be different, right? It can be, yeah. So we chose like this, but yeah, it's again it's called a pre-production environment, wherein you do again testing, thorough testing, and then move to production if you do not see any issues.
So Ravi, for clustered metadata tier also we need to have this Lev 2 and Lev 3, right?
Sorry, cluster.
Clustered metadata tier. Let's say you have too many servers and you want to handle all of it with more than 2 metadata tiers.
Yeah, if you have multiple metadata servers, yeah, you need to have different levels.
Right, right. So yeah, this is another case, and which is what I'm saying is a different scenario, right?
Yeah, different scenario. That's a different scenario. Yes, that's not same. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, what else I have? Okay, so this is how all the um, applications are going to be installed and available. You can see what are all applications installed on each server here. Sorry for the small letters. So let me start from right side. So on the client, as you guys know, so all the client side applications will be installed: Enterprise Guide, Miner, add-in for Office, Integrate Studio, Management Console, etc. And also, if you have a IBM LSF load sharing facility flow manager, those are available. And also we need to have Internet Explorer to open the web URLs, and we need Microsoft Office also installed on the client server to open the Office add-in with Office. Then Visual Analytics Server, that's mainly for visual analysis on a non-distributed environment. You have one metadata server, two middle tier servers to do the load balancing, and these are all the server tier components that are available for you to use. So these are all the server components we will have, or we will install it on the middle tier environment. Then the main important one is the controller node. So in the earlier diagram, you see we have one controller and three nodes. That's what we are saying here. We have one controller node and three worker nodes, which will typically have the same kind of setup, but the namings and the controller will have little more, wherein it has the main components installed, and the startup and stop procedure will also little bit change, or the components will increase on the controller node to make sure the worker nodes are working. So these are all the components or supporting components we need to install or configure when we're doing the installation configurations. Right. Any questions here?
Ravi, if you don't mind, can I ask, is this your real-time environment which you're showing us?
Yes.
So all of them are deployed in AWS, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Ravi, this is Shyam.
Yeah.
Generally, I mean, it was a complete different kind for us what we thought. This is how it is for our environment. We have one client node and 9 compute nodes,
Mm-hmm.
two mid-tier environment, 3 metadata servers. So total 15.
Okay.
But the setup what they have done is all dev, testing, pre-production, everything they have put in the same server, the same grid environment. So they have divided with the port numbers. Will that be possible?
Yes. 8561 is for production, 8562 for level 2, 8563 for level 3, like that. Yeah. It's completely possible. Yeah, that's what we do here as well. You can see here in this, where is this? Yeah. So this is 8561, 6263, and then even though you see level 1, level 2 here, we again changed it to level 4 and 5. So 8465, 6465 we did. Yeah, it's
Okay.
completely possible. Yeah. So all we need to let our network team know is when we install or when we are going to install the environment, SAS will let us know. Okay, these are all the port number ranges. You need to have it open for your environment, or if there are any firewalls or ports are closed in your business, you have to open them. So if you open the range, then you can use it.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. I think that's what I have today. Let me see, where is the port? Any other questions do you guys have? Maybe for the next session, Shyam, if you can get your architecture, I can explain, or we can talk about that as well, how it is configured, etc. Or where you have questions or where you have concerns, we can talk about that as well.
Sure.
Okay, guys. I think that's all I have for today. The architectures I want to show and then make you understand how different architectures will look like. So tomorrow I will start by opening a management console directly. If I don't see any of my company names reflecting, else I'll take appropriate screenshots and then show you. Right?
Okay, you can take a screenshot and blur it, something like that. Or if you have that one installed in your virtual machine, where you can
I will
do
check. I will check on
something
that
like
here.
that.
Also, if possible, please try to come up with some questions that you want to ask for the grid environment, and then if I know it directly, I'm like, I'll answer. Else, I'll explain to you guys in the next session, something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
Priya, you wanted to ask something?
No, I'm good, Ravi.
Good then. Then let's talk tomorrow. If possible, I'll tell Shanmukh to start a little early, maybe 8:30 or something, or else let's start at 9 if you guys are not available.
8:30 your time?
Yeah, at my time. I think that is.
It's not possible to be a bit early for you? I mean, if everybody is also.
Yeah, so I'll try to start, but sometimes I cannot predict. So last Thursday, I have started from office at 4:40 and I reached home at approximately 7:40. So 3 hours. It typically takes only 1 or 1.5 hour, but I reached in 3 hours. So today also it took 2 hours to reach. That's why, yeah, Bangalore traffic
For
is
us also, the daylight saving time changed, right? So we have to be in the office too.